or management.
Welcome, beautiful people. Good evening. It is Monday night, 6 p.m. sharp here in Greater Nashville. Welcome to RFD Talk. It is a wonderful evening here. We are enjoying the seasons. It's certainly changing a little bit. We may have spring coming. We have a little bit of rain sometime, a lot of sun, and then it gets cold. But I have a feeling lately 6 o'clock look like the sun is still out, everybody. So I'm hoping your evening is going well as we are approaching a new season coming soon. But we all know that this is February, and February has been a fruitful, fun month. Let me tell you, I'm RFD. Some of you know me as Robin F. David. I am a healing consultant, best-selling author, self-published author, president of the Golden Foundation. My mission is to brighten belief and to direct wholeness by teaching people the truth, and especially women. Of course, I do get in trouble with some of the guys because they say, you always have women on your show. Well, I'm going to get some of you men out here so y'all can share y'all's truth with us too. And before we get started, I just like to thank my sponsors. And one of our sponsors is Shave Me Down. Shave Me Down handmade body lotion. I'm telling you, Shave Me Down has kept me feeling so good in my skin. And if you're wanting some Shave Me Down, I invite you to go to facebook.com Shave Me Down. Thank you, Shave Me Down, for being one of our sponsors. We appreciate you. Then we also have Majestic Elegance Candles and Company. I'm talking about if you're wanting to have a cozy evening and you want to burn some candles, I suggest you go to livemajestic.com. Livemajestic.com is the website where you'll get all of your fragrances there. And that's where I want to tell you, you'll find some of the nicest fragrances to relax, calm you, and to invigorate you. So definitely check out their website. Here at RFD Talk, we like to bring simple understanding to complicated situations, taking the hard work out of self-care and self-love. And so this being the month of Black History, and I always like to say it's not only Black History, but we here at WVOL, the mighty 147, the Heritage radio station, we like to think about not only are we the history of us blacks, but we also are making history right here and now here in the greater Nashville. And it's the month of love. February is the month of um, Valentine's Day, where we talked about loving yourself, being loved, and loving other people. And what does love look like? We had a little bit about Self-Love Day last week. The first of the month was really a dedication to, of course, RFD. It was my birthday. And so that week was all about celebrating RFD and her birthday. But this week, we want to talk about it's President's Day for those who is celebrating President's Day. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Join me and take a deep breath. If you celebrate President's Day, I'm hoping you are enjoying your day off. To me, President's Day represent when I used to work for the government. You look forward to those holidays that you get to stay home. But when you're self-employed and you're an innovator, you pray. The Bible says to pray for our leaders. So I do pray for all of the past presidents, and I pray for our future presidents because they are the leaders of our country. So I'm hoping you are enjoying your President's Day. And also, just take a deep breath with me before we go into what did the Lord say to RFD. Do you know what the Lord said to RFD? We're going to take a deep breath. And so we're going to breathe in and we're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe in to let go of the things that did not go well today. Because I tell you, Mondays can be the beginning of the week where you get the email, the call that really you be like, really, God? So you have to stop, take a deep breath, And let me share with you, after you take a deep breath in, we're going to exhale a deep breath out. It's going to clear our head. And no matter what email you got, no matter what call you got that kind of was like, what, Lord? You're going to be able to have a solution. So just join me with a quick 60 seconds of taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And join me again. If you're driving, you may not be able to do this practice, so make sure you're safe. So let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And one more, because we definitely know it's Monday and we're expecting God. What did the Lord say to RFD? Deep breath in and a deep breath out. That the word for today, our affirmation for this week is, I am enough. I am enough is what the Lord said to RFD. So remember, whatever you face this week, remember just to take those deep breaths in and blow those deep breaths out. And remember, the Lord said that you are enough. And that brings us to our topic for today. Are you ready to call in? You can call in if you have questions. I'm super excited. We have someone in the green room that came all the way down from Smyrna, welcoming us here in Greater Nashville. We're so honored to have this trailblazer, this innovator, this young woman who is creating now history in the Nashville area and all over the world. Thank you to my global viewers and watchers and listeners too. We thank you, and like, share, and subscribe today. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we are looking forward to having our topic today is thriving in single. Let me say that one more time. You got to really understand the word thriving and single. And this innovator, this queen, this young woman is here to share with us how we can thrive, not just survive, not just say, oh, I'm single, but be a thriving single individual. And we are so honored that she came in today. And I have some questions for her. And if you have questions for her, please call in. Please ask the questions. We're going to slow down today and see what questions you have. So we want to welcome, with no further ado, let's welcome everyone to the screen. There, if you're not watching on YouTube or Facebook, listeners, we have a beautiful guest in the house here at WVOL 1470 AM. Makia James, please tell us a little bit, introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers here today.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Makia James. I have been in the Nashville area for about 5 years. I am from Aberdeen, Mississippi. I'm a good old Southern Belle, but one of my passions is to help single women thrive, as well as men too. I want us all to develop better relationships and just find hope. You know, sometimes when you've been single for a while, you start to lose hope. And I'm here because I don't want people to lose that hope. And I want to share with people the things that I wish I knew then that I know now. I'm trying to help people learn from my mistakes. So I'm here to help single women thrive as well as men.
Well, I'm so glad that you did include our brothers, because we have to include our brothers. I had that interview with Lance J. If you haven't heard me on his podcast, Lance J is also a affiliate radio host here, and he's also with Radio One. So check Lance J out. He is awesome, and I interviewed with him last week, and he's like, you got to include us men. And let me tell you, men, I love y'all. We would not live without y'all. So thank you for including the gentlemen, because they are important. And they also, he asked that question, how do you thrive and be a single man and a single woman? And that was what he asked me. So I'm so glad you asked me that question. My other question, Makia James, would be, tell us a little bit about you being when I say creating history, and we're talking about Black history, and we're honoring you today as being a young woman trailblazing and sharing your experiences. Can you tell us a little bit of what it means to be in corporate America and to thrive in Black woman? Because I know also you mentioned what is your career path. Just can you tell the audience what type of woman you are as a Southern Belle, as she mentioned? Yes, I love the Southern Belle. Go right ahead. Can you tell us what it means to be a Southern Belle in corporate America and being Black in corporate America? Hello, Kim. Thank you for being here with us.
Sure, sure. So, what it means to me to be a Southern Belle or a Black woman in corporate America is, I think it's a privilege. There are so many people who step into corporate America and they don't have the experience that I have. Everybody isn't able to thrive and find success as quickly as I am. I'm 34 years old, and I am working in a six-figure job. And, for some people my age, it doesn't come that quick. But it's something that I am thankful for. I'm thankful that God has blessed me with that opportunity and positioned me when I was young, I went to college. When I went to college, I had a desire to go in and win. I had big dreams. I wanted to be a television news broadcaster, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. So I just went in and I went for my goals. I went after my dreams, and God opened doors. And it's like He had a light shining upon me for people to notice me. And He's continued to open doors since then. I'm not saying it's always been an easy road, but I've never been afraid of the challenges. I approached it with no fear. And God just continues to bless me.
Yes, He is bless you. And He does make you take notice of you. I again know our topic is thriving and single, but I definitely wanted to let our audience know that she's not just thriving and single, but she's in corporate. And I'll have a lot of entrepreneurs come on the show, but we also have to show that there are some very successful youth for women in and possibly men as well, that are in the corporate and being Black and what that means for us in our country and thriving in corporate and again believing and trusting God fearlessly. I love how you said you had made a decision that you was just going to go fearlessly and just take it on, and you wanted the best for yourself. I can see you in television and radio, even though I know that you are working presently with corporate. I don't know why when I think of you and you told me that, I was like, girl, you are ready for that. You're going in that direction. The doors will open for you even more. I can see that for you. So congratulations to all of the success that you're doing in Black thriving America today. We really need more young women to hear your story. So congratulations. Now, my other question would be, getting back to the topic, thriving as a single today. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned as a single?
Well, there are a lot of lessons I've learned, I'm 34 years old. I consider myself still young. However, during that time, I have learned a lot. And I'm going to share three of those lessons with you. One of the lessons that I've learned is to know who you are, accept who you are, and not allow someone else to try and tell you who you are. Because as a single person, one of the most beautiful things is to show up and be authentically you. And to have someone love you for who you are is a beautiful thing. But what happens is sometimes when we're dating, and as well as in the world of social media today, we look at different people and we feel like we have to be this person in order to attract this person. Sometimes we go against our standards and our values just to have someone in our lives. But see, what happens is we get into these relationships or these dating situations and they're not sustainable. right? Because you're trying to be someone that you're not. And one of the things that I used to hear all the time, I used to cry about being single. And someone told me one day, they said, what you're looking for is looking for you. But if you aren't being yourself, if you're not being authentically you, people can't see who you truly are. You can't attract the right people into your life if you're not being you. And yeah. So, and I think another thing that I learned, another big one is to listen, right? I think all my life I heard about my flaws from family members, from friends, and it wasn't until I got in a relationship one time and I lost that relationship, a relationship that I really wanted to work, that I realized, you know what? I should have listened to my mama when she said I was selfish. I should have listened to people when they said, Makia, you have a bad temper. Because I could have worked on those things before I actually got in those relationships. So I say listen while you're single. Listen to those people who are around you so that you can grow and be ready and prepared for that person that God is going to bring into your life. And the last lesson that I want to share is stop dating based on your type. I think I wasted a lot of years dating based on my type. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have standards. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be attracted, to your mate. But for years, I was dating a certain type, right? I wanted him to look a certain way. I wanted him to be educated. I wanted him to be thriving and doing things with his life and all of those kind of things. And not saying that those aren't bad things, but my relationships weren't working, right? We kept clashing. And I finally realized that maybe my type is the reason why I'm single. But when I started to relinquish that control and give it to God and allow Him to show me and reveal to me the right people for my life, that's when I started to experience better relationships. I think the thing that you really have to ask yourself is, why do you want to be married, or why do you want to be in a relationship? And that's definitely changed, for me over the years. But for me, it's because I want to build a family with someone and walk in God's purpose with someone by, developing that family lifestyle. And when I think about myself when I'm 80 years old, I want someone next to me who's going to be there holding my hand. When I envision my life when I'm 80, I want to be surrounded by my children and my grandchildren. And when it comes to that, it's not going to matter whether he's 6 feet tall or 5'9". What's going to matter is what's in his heart. So I say, don't date based on your type, but set some fruitful standards.
I love
fruitful standards.
Oh, I love that. Oh, those three right there. Did you take notes, listeners? Because we're talking about thriving and being single. I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you for sharing those 3 points. So another question we have for you is, how do you think we can become better at building relationships with others?
So there are, it's different for everybody. We all are very different, but I think one of the foundations to have a healthy relationship with anybody is to first have a relationship with yourself. Because if you don't know you, and if you're not happy with who you are and confident in who you are, you're going to struggle in relationships. You're either going to depend on that person to affirm you, and you're not going to be confident within yourself, which isn't going to be healthy for that person who's in a relationship with you, or you're just going to show up into this relationship and not be strong. Because sometimes people want their way, right? People will make you feel like you have to be you just have to behold to whatever it is that they want. but you have to still know what your needs are and stand on what your needs are too. It's not when you show up to a relationship, yes, it is about loving that person, but you also have to love yourself enough to be able to stand up and speak up for yourself when the time presents itself. But the other thing is to be vulnerable. I think that's one of the things that I have struggled with so much throughout my life. But you have to be able to be vulnerable and reveal who you are. Who you, going back to what I said about that authenticity, but you can't be afraid of letting people know who you truly are. Some people are afraid that, oh, he won't like me if he really knows me, or she won't like me if she finds out how much money I make. Look, present who you are. And if the people run away, that's not for you. Those people are not for you. So you got to be willing to show up and be vulnerable with people. But the area that I've struggled with is trust. Being vulnerable enough to not only trust my heart to give to someone, but also, trusting my heart with someone, but also just trusting in general. I think growing up, sometimes we see a lot of different things based on our experiences. Maybe you saw this person cheat. Maybe you saw men and women in your family cheat. So you develop these perceptions and things in your mind that are within you that you don't even realize, So because of that, you have an issue trusting and you don't even know it. So I think another foundation to developing a healthy relationship with people is to be, first of all, check yourself. Check yourself, do your work to become self-aware. And I'm not saying just give your heart and trust everybody, but in order to connect, you have to be vulnerable.
Very good. That's true. I agree with you. I think that will help you become more of a thriving single when you're open to looking at awareness of yourself and are you really being authentic? Because I realize that it's so funny because when you hold anything back in a relationship, they're holding something back too. Because when you talk about authenticness, right? And that is so important because that's where people, I find that I think relationships tend to, now we have sanctified relationships and then you have unsanctified relationships. I'm just using them for example. But it seems like the unsanctified ones tend to survive the sanctified. And I'm going to tell you, in my own witnesses, I think that some of us in the religious, not spiritual, but in a religious way, hold back on our mates. And we're not being authentically who we are. And it's showing up to me in some of the body of Christ, right? But if you are an unsaved couple and they out, they know, like, baby, we about to turn up 12. We about to do 12 case of beer. Back, you got your cigarettes. I got my cigarettes, baby. Baby, I love you forever. I love you too. And they are so genuine. You see what I'm saying? But then you have some of us who saying hallelujah. And then with the other one say hallelujah. But the other one drinking beer on Tuesday. I ain't tell the other one on Wednesday that I had beer on Wednesday. I'm just saying. And then it's like I'm sneaking out, because I don't want him to know because I'm going to be on Bible study that I had a beer on Tuesday. And those little small things crack the relationship because as soon as they do come to solution, that reason you ain't been coming to Bible study with me because you've been having beer on Wednesday. And you told me you were going to stop drinking beer.
Something else about that.
I'm just using that for example. I don't know what my listeners need to hear that. Just be honest if you're drinking beer and not going on Wednesday. That's, just bring it to be honest.
Something else about that is, I can definitely relate to that. Like when I was younger in college and still am, but in college, I was really trying to live for God. And dating was hard, right? Because I was saving myself, trying to really do the right thing. And it seemed like the girls or the women who weren't doing that, it seemed like they were winning. It's like they had all the men. And I got mad at God. I'm like, so God, how she end up with the man? how he proposed to her. I mean, I thought I'm over here trying to be the Proverbs 31 woman, trying to do everything right, and I'm the one who ended up by myself, but she got the person. But I still say you have to be committed to being you, committed to being who you are, because he just wasn't for me.
Right.
He didn't deserve me,
right.
And that just wasn't what God called me to. And then, but what happened was after that it was a situation, where this person did propose to someone else.
Okay.
And I did get mad. I got mad at God for a while. But I started trying to be someone that I wasn't, because I was like, okay, well, it seems like the people who are out here partying and doing all these things, they're the ones who are winning, So I felt like I had to turn into that person. And I was ending up in these relationships that weren't working because, eventually the real you will come out. I knew that wasn't in my character to be this person. It wasn't in my character to be going out, or not saying that anything is wrong with that, but I'm just saying I wasn't the party girl that I was trying to present that I was, But I say now that I'm operating and being authentically me, I am finding better relationships.
Awesome. I do agree. I think once you really be aware who you are, loving how you are, and that same person, y'all will meet. It just will be an organic situation because they have started working on themselves. Y'all in the same place. Y'all have similar attractions, can actually support each other in those places. So I think you are definitely talking about what it takes to be a thriving single today. Did we have any questions? I heard someone said out there, let's see what she was saying. This is so true, being vulnerable and walking, what she say there, is walking in that childlike faith. Yes. So definitely you do attract your own genuine truth if you're in your truth and accepting your truth. I love what you just brought up. So how can we find happiness? Oh, excuse me, I have one other question before that one. Why do you think dating is difficult today?
Ooh, we all have our own little issues. But one of the things that I found, one of the things that I found is sometimes we are set in our ways, right? We are, set in our ways, set in our own thoughts and our views of what we think a relationship should look like. And when you get into a relationship or dating situation with somebody, you have to be willing to let go of some things. I'm not saying let go of your standards, but you can't join into a relationship with anybody and not expect to have to change something about yourself, because no two people are exactly alike. You're trying to come together to become one. So sometimes this person sees things this way, the other person sees them totally different, and it can cause issues in their relationship. And sometimes one person, like if going back to what I said, if you don't love yourself, you would just give up all control and just go with whatever it is that this person needs, or wants. But in a healthy situation, both people have to be willing to give and take and add and subtract some things about themselves in order to become one. But the second thing is status. I see that all the time. And I don't think it's just in today's age and, in our generation, because I think it's been going on for years. Women have wanted a man who makes more money than them, and a man often wants to be the breadwinner. But just being real about it, today, there are way more women who are thriving and successful and making more money than men. So it becomes difficult to date sometimes when you have a man who's like, I don't, I want to be the leader. Sometimes they feel insecure in those relationships. And then you have women who are like, he need to be equal to me. He needs to be making six figures and all of these things. And, it kind of hinders that bond, right? But I think that again, if we were to shift our perspective in the way that we look at this, some of us who are actually dealing with that issue could overcome the hurdle. For example, you can have one person making 75,000, this other person in the relationship making 50,000. Why not view it that when the two of us get together, we're going to build wealth together and develop a six-figure household? Why not? You're over here saying, oh, I got to have a man who makes six figures. But why not choose to build with this man or build with this woman? Because at the end of the day, the money is going to one place, right? I think the bigger question you should ask is this person financially responsible? Now, can I trust this person with my finances, or that when we get together, is he going to spend the bill money on other things, or is she going to spend the bill money on a Louis Vuitton bag? Can you trust this person to do that? But like most recently, it was so interesting. I was having a conversation with my mama, and she said, well, do you think she makes more than us? And I said, huh? I said, yeah, I think that lady makes a lot more than us, mama. And you too. She makes more than me, and I think she makes more than you. And she was like, I'm talking about me and my husband. Because she didn't recognize her income as her income and his income as his income. She recognized it as our income. And she was like, that person does not make more than me and my husband.
I love it.
Because that's their income and wealth that they are building together.
That's true.
And I think that if more of us envision it that way and we saw it that way, it would completely shift the way we look at it, and help some of us overcome that idea in our mind that we gotta have this or that we gotta have that. And I'm gonna be honest and say, I want somebody who is thriving, but at the same time, for me, I may make more than whoever I date, or I don't have a problem with that. But what matters the most to me is he continuing to progress, right? Because that's my mindset. Where I am today, I don't plan to be 5 years from now. Does he have that same mindset where he wants to progress with me? So that's how I look at it. Check the mindset of that person before you check their bank account.
Oh, girl, you are dropping she's dropping some jewels on us, right? Some really gems. I mean, I'm hoping y'all taking notes, because that is so true. That I love. It's like the paradigm, the way we have to shift our mindset. The paradigm shift.
Yeah.
That's what comes from the paradigm shift. That's the word I was trying to find, because it's a paradigm shift, because that is so true. When we think of becoming one, and definitely I'd rather be with a man who is responsible with his money. If he had 20-30,000, but he's responsible with his money and he is eager to grow, that makes a successful couple, because they know that they can win together and they can grow together. We have a question. Very good. Very good. Very good, thriving. We have a question. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you all. We have a question from Sheba, and Sheba wants to know, one of our listeners from YouTube. Thank you for being here, YouTube listeners and Facebook followers. We appreciate you. Sheba wants to know, what is the first step? Excuse me, Sheba. What is the first step to finding your authentic self? That's a really good question.
That is a very good question. I would say the steps that I took was probably, I think that was about 4 years ago. I looked at all of the women that I admired, and I set myself on a path to becoming the woman that I admired. I looked at the qualities number one, qualities that I loved about myself, but also the qualities that I loved in other people, and I set myself out to become that person I truly desired to be in my heart. I set goals for myself. and I went after those goals. Because, you know, a lot of us, we're standing in the mirror every day and we're speaking these affirmations over ourselves, right? But oftentimes we're not doing anything to actually become that. You can't just speak an affirmation. You got to put some work into it, right?
Ooh,
So I
I
went
love that.
after being that woman that I admired. Figure out what would make you admire yourself. You know, what are the things that you admire about other women? Like RFD, I love the way that whenever I see you, you always look good.
Thank
So you know
you.
what?
Thank you.
Yes. And I feel like I admire that about you, and that motivates me to want to go after doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So go after being that woman you admire. Just think about all of those things that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that bring you fulfillment. And that helps you become authentically you. Now, I'm not saying be someone that you're not, but I'm saying be who you are, but become a better version of who you are. And that also helps increase your confidence. So I say, become the woman that you admire.
Oh, I love that answer. Become the woman that you admire. That is so true because I never have said that out loud, but that's what I do. I actually look at women that I admire and I say to myself, how do I become her with being me? Not like, being her as much
Yeah,
as being me,
yeah.
and then working on those areas. That's a very good answer. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we got your mom out there said, come on. Yes, you got a beautiful daughter here. Thank you for sharing her with us today. We are so excited learning about thriving and being single. Thank you. So we have a few more questions for you.
Okay.
You're just a gem. You're just
So
a
are
gem.
you.
Thank you. So let me ask you this. How can we find happiness and contentment as we are as singles?
Yeah, that's
Happiness and contentment.
That's
Yes.
a very, very good question. You know, contentment. Oh, when people used to say that to me, I used to get so mad. Like, I don't want to be content single. I don't want to be single. I want somebody in my life. Stop telling me to be content. But, I finally learned, that you have to be a happy person by yourself before you get with somebody else. You gotta be willing. You have to be out there enjoying your life. You have to know what happiness is for you. So, number one, I say live in the now, and appreciate the now, because what you are experiencing today, you may not be able to experience 3 years from now. So as a single person, some of the things that you are able to do right now, like if I decide I want to jump and go to Vegas tomorrow, I can jump and go to Vegas tomorrow. If I want to spend my money the way I want to spend my money, I don't have to worry about somebody saying, well, didn't you just buy you a bag last week? Why you got a bag? Why you getting a new bag today? Did you really need a bag? Look, I am single right now. So I am able to live my life and thrive and do what I want to do right now. So live in the moment. But what helps you find contentment is doing what I said earlier, going after that woman that you want to become. When you are operating in your purpose, you find fulfillment. Fill your life with those things that make you happy. If traveling makes you happy, find opportunities to travel. If whatever your goals are, like if you want to be an entrepreneur, start making steps to become an entrepreneur. Find those things that bring you fulfillment. Spend time with family, spend time with friends. And I know in my age at 34, a lot of my friends are getting married, they're having children. They don't, really have as much time as they used to. Well, get involved. Get involved. Build your own groups. For example, I built a group called Sister Stood, and I started having Bible study sessions, girl talk Bible study sessions, fun little sessions with women. And that brought me fulfillment because I was being authentically me while going after a goal, which is to help inspire single women. But also, I developed friends and, made new friends in the process. So I say, live in the now, but find what makes you happy. And eventually, when you're out there having fun and you're doing things and becoming authentically you and walking in purpose, your Boaz or whoever it is you're looking for is going to notice you. And you know why? Because you are glowing. You're glowing and you're being your authentic self. You're happy. You're not bitter. You're not bitter out here with an attitude, but you are happy in being yourself. So it is very important to find contentment.
Yes, I love the power of now, being in the moment. That literally just sets you really into a place of receiving the blessing of your better half or your partner, because being happy with yourself, practicing that every day and being in the moment is really a powerful place to be as a single. It does become thriving. You do, you look up. I remember this one lady, she was telling me this similar story because she was like, I was so happy with my life, Robin. And then all of a sudden, here comes this guy. She's like, then I was like, Lord, I got to share my life with him. It's like, what does the Bible says about that? Because it talks about, being single in the Bible, right? And oh yes, her Sister Stood program was amazing because I loved it. Oh my God, that's why I said she's dynamic. She is not just a great corporate example for young Black women, but also as an entrepreneur. So you share both dual gifts and serving others, teaching the word of God. And again, I know that God talked about that when being single. You can do that. You can get up and go to New York or travel. You only think of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you can just enjoy being with him. And because that's what she was saying. She's like, Robin, I had my time with God, and now all of a sudden I got to share my time with God. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, girl, you done got. She's like, but I love my man. You know what I mean? So you'll get that place really happy, and then all of a sudden here comes this amazing gentleman stepping into your life, and you're like, wow, I wasn't even thinking of it. And that's what I hear most of. I'm a hopeful romantic, so when I hear love stories, I love those love stories where this lady it's like, I wasn't even thinking of it, I was minding my business, and here he came, and now he's like the perfect guy for me.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. Yeah, we're so excited to hear that. And go with what else would you like to share with our listeners?
So, another piece of that, about I heard TD Jakes say, I love TD Jakes, but one of
He's
the
awesome.
yeah, he is.
I love him
he
too.
is, but I was listening to a message from him one day, and he was talking about, how you have one single woman saying, man. One woman saying, man, I am tired of taking this trash out. Man, I'm tired of taking this trash out. And then you have a married woman over there saying, dang it, I wish this man, would go somewhere. I get so tired of him, I can take my own trash out if he would just go somewhere. And I think that goes back into what I was saying about appreciating that season that you're in. Because next year your husband could come along and you may miss those single days. There may be some things that you need to work on right now that you may not be able to work on when you are trying to build a family. For example, I'm in a position in my job, it requires that I travel. It requires that I travel at least 2 weeks out of every month. If I had a family at home, that may be very difficult. But right now, I can do that. So I'm not saying that I don't have days where I get sad, and wish that I had a companion, because I really do. Now, don't let me fool y'all. I have had my moments where I break down, I cry. But at the end,
I'm laughing because I understand.
yeah.
And we understand as women, those moments you'd be like, you want to have that shoulder to lean on, or
Yeah.
that person you can just throw that idea out there and y'all can discuss it.
Yes. Yeah. In companionship.
Yes.
We just came off Valentine's Day. Like, man, I'm looking at everybody on social media. Like, these guys got rose petals in the hotel rooms. And I'm like, dang, all I want is a phone call. Can I just get a happy Valentine's Day text? Can somebody just think about me? But I don't want people to lose hope. And no matter how long it has taken, if you are still living and breathing, God can still make it happen.
Ooh, hallelujah.
Yeah,
that's true. I love that part.
He can. But I think we have to do our part. And we do our part by going after our purpose, because that's what God created us for, right? And marriage is for a purpose. God brings two people together to fulfill a purpose that He has for them. So you got to be walking in your purpose. You have to know who you are, right? And you have to be ready to love. Because getting in a relationship, based on my experience, it can be work. It's not just about what you can get and about somebody loving you, but you got to be ready to love that person. You got to be ready to show up for them when you don't feel like showing up, but make sure that you have somebody who's doing the same thing for you. But I think that when we do our part and we trust God to do the rest, and I think that eventually He'll show up. And that's the hope that I'm standing on. It's a hope that will not make you ashamed. And I trust and I have faith in God that, hey, the next time you see me, RFD, you're going to see this ring on my finger.
All right, I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing this ring on her finger. Do y'all understand? I'll be there cheering you and excited for you in your Boaz, because you are the queen that he needs, girl. I'm telling all my listeners, if you single, you better look at this sister right here. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. That is really the truth. What you're saying, if you know your purpose, and I do think that some people don't even know why they want to get married. They just think it's this, we get told, society says, oh, married people is it looks like they have it all together because they have this other person in their life. But again, if you're not true to self, I love what you said about that. And then seeking your purpose and understanding what marriage partnership is for.
Yeah.
Because it does have a purpose. It's not just, just something to be able to say and you did it and you can mark it off your off your list of, oh, I did that, and trying to satisfy society and saying, look what, I got a chance to get married and all. No, it's really more to it. And it's got a lot of variables. Well, what I mean, like raising your children, growing your purpose. It has a lot. It has a lot. And you don't want none of them sabotage if you're married to someone that you wasn't designed to be married to. Because it's definitely and I also like to say that I love how you say hope. Because we need hope in our country. And especially us Blacks, and seeing families that we've seen a lot of broken families and families that have been through a lot of challenges, because we haven't been taught, our men maybe haven't been taught how to pursue great women. They haven't been taught that. They haven't seen that. And so we're relearning and ourselves and unlearning some things that we've seen and got hurt by and offended by and afraid to do and be and become. So give it time, beautiful Black people. You too will be married healthy if you take some of these tips that she's sharing with us today about thriving and being single and feeling good about being single and not feeling condemned or feeling less than. And yes, social media makes it look like, when you do look on those holidays that some of us celebrate, some don't, but it does kind of make you get in your feelings. And you'd be like, well, when is my boo gonna come? But let me tell you about you know how God is. He's an on time God. Yes, he is. So I'm looking forward to her wedding and seeing her with that ring on it. Okay, people, it's happening. It's happening. It's 2022, and God is doing things overnight, suddenly, and quickly. So we're in agreement for your kingdom man, girl, because she's definitely a kingdom woman. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So we have maybe one or two other questions. Let's see what other questions we can have for. Do any of our viewers, listeners want to call in really quick? Because we're at the near of the end of the hour, and it's been such an honor to be present with you. You are, like I said, a delight. We have to have her back because we definitely have to have her back for another topic. Because the other topic I definitely want to talk to her about thriving as a Black woman in corporate America, because we really want to get into that. And so that some of our corporate women or women who are wanting to pursue corporate, we want to have you come back and talk more about corporate, because that's a whole different subject than thriving and being single. Okay. And especially being Black. So one of our final few questions would be, how important is self-love to building a successful relationship?
Oh, wow. Well, I think I mentioned that earlier about, loving yourself is a firm foundation, to building relationship with anyone. But it's very important because if you don't love yourself, I heard Tony Gaskin say this once, if you don't love yourself, someone will teach you how to hate yourself. And you will confuse the two. And that's like one of the quotes that I keep that I keep around, because if you don't know who you are or like who you are, you will allow people to influence you and make you feel like you have to be someone else. You will allow them to beat you down with their words. And then not only that, but you're depending on them. You're depending on them to affirm you and find happiness within. But you have to love yourself before you go into a relationship. And the word of God says that you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And automatically that tells you that loving yourself is a requirement to loving somebody else. Right?
Yeah, can you repeat that for some of our listeners? We got that scripture right there. That's all we talk about here on RFD Talk. We love understanding, what does the Bible really mean by that? Because I think sometimes we miss that part of, he said that we had to love ourselves.
Because if you are taking good care of yourself, if you know how to take care of yourself, if you know what makes you happy, for example, just little things like, look, I cooked myself dinner before I came here. It's going to be at home waiting on me on the stove when I get home. I've got it all fancy for me, honey. So the thing is, and that's just a little example, but to me, that's loving on me pampering myself, or being kind to myself, speaking kind things over myself, kind words to me, building myself up, as well as investing in me, investing in my education, taking time to read and grow and develop myself. That's me pouring into me. So that when God sends that person that he has for me, I also know how to love them, because I'm loving myself. So I also know what it takes I also know what it takes to love me too. So if he ain't treating me the way I treat myself, if he makes me feel worse than what I felt before he came, that's not what I need. So again, loving yourself, I believe, is a requirement to loving somebody else, because otherwise you'll just accept whatever people give you. But you have to treat yourself well first and know what it feels like.
Yes, you brought us really some valuable information, wisdom from a 34-year-old thriving and being single. That's our topic tonight. I want to thank you again. We'll have you back because I know you have so much more wisdom to share with us, and so many things that God probably will want you to come back and share more with. So we look forward to having you back. Thank you again. So thank you, viewers and listeners. We here at the RFD Talk want to say I am very honored to have you here every Monday. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And how can we get in contact with you? Really quick, we got to wrap it up and tell us, how do we follow up and how do people stay in contact with you?
Sure, sure. Well, I am very active on Instagram. My Instagram name is Queen James. You can also look me up as Makia James. I'm active on Facebook as well. I have a page for Makia James, Life Lessons for the Single Girl. So check me out. I'm in the process of writing a book on life lessons for the single woman, helping women to learn from the things that I've learned. I want to help women again to not make the same mistakes that I've made, and to also help them find hope as a single. So that's how, be on the lookout.
Yes, congratulations. We got to get that book, girl. So excited for you, all the upcoming success. Congratulations. Hey, again, I'm RFD, and I love you. I love you. I'm Robinfdavid, and I'm here to inspire you to embrace, love yourself, and nurture yourself as you do unto others. Until next week, remember that you are enough. Have a great week. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Love you. Thank you, viewers, Facebook viewers. Thank you, everyone. Have a great, great night.
That was so awesome. I enjoyed that. I really did. Awesome.
Did you have? You got to come back. I'm hoping you really had a good time because we want you to come back. Thank you for being here. Beautiful.
I'd love to come